Oh, Rudolf, if only you could arrange yourself. Come here, get off my seat. So this video is going to be about arranging the Christmas carol associated with this guy for a concert band. And so I'm going to be working from Jazz Arranging Techniques by Gary Lindsay. This is a book we used at uni. It's Jazz Arranging Techniques from quartet to big band. And so I'm going to speak specifically. First I want to focus on chord tone categories and Gary Lindsay's use of those and how we can use them to avoid flat 9 and minor second intervals, which are very nasty. We're going to talk about four-way close, four-way open, and we're going to touch on drop voicing, so drop 2, drop 3, and drop 4. So I just want to address the chord tone categories just quickly, because it's integral into our drop 2 and our drop 2, drop 3, drop 4 voicing technique, and also our four-way close, four-way open technique. And so if we're talking about each chord tone takes up a chord tone category, and so if we're talking about a B flat major 7, there's going to be 4 categories. There's going to be a root category, a third category, a fifth category, and a seventh category. We're using 4-note chords because that's what we use in jazz typically, unless you're arranging like sort of, you want to sound a bit like Glenn Miller. So if we're talking about a B flat major 7, B flat's going to be our root, D is going to be our third, F is going to be our fifth, and of course A natural is going to be our seventh. If we're using B flat 7th, which has got a different chord function, it's got more of a dominant function in most cases, it'll be an A flat on top of the 7th would be an A flat. And so we've got B flat, D, F and A as a tonic chord, B flat major 7. Alright, so if we want to do something with that chord and make it sound a bit tastier, so if we want to say turn it to a 9 chord, we've got to substitute one of those categories. So we don't tend to move the third very much unless you're using a suspension chord, which has an effect, but you don't, if you're using a suspension chord in one section, you don't combine it with something that's playing its standard chord in another section. So an example would be if you've got an F7 sus in the horns, in the saxes, and then you've got an F7 in the brass, it's not going to work because the A and the B flat. B flat's the sus 4 of F. It's going to clash with the A. It's going to be semitone part. It's going to sound horrible. You get that horrible minor second or flat 9th interval. And so if we're going to turn our B flat major 7 to a B flat major 9, so our root category will go, instead of taking the place of B flat being the root, with B flat still going to be the root, still being played in the rhythm section, B flat will go to a C's, and then D, and then F, and then A, and each of the other categories. So the thing we've got to be careful here is with it, particularly if a melody is a B flat or a C or a D, that we're not voicing a note a major second away, or even a minor second would be horrible, but we don't voice it a major second away for any note that's longer than a crotchet, than a quarter note. And the reason for that is it creates this rub, as Gary Lindsay says. It detracts from the melody. And so what you can use then a drop 2 voicing to fix that, or you can use another category. Like instead of saying you want a B flat major 9, you might want to move the 6th. You might want to move the 5th, the F to a G, which would be the 6th. Also in chapter 12 on page 91 of Gary Lindsay's book, he's got a page dedicated to the flat 9 interval. So this is a horrible interval, and we want to avoid it because it's very, very tense. So unless you want to use it for an effect, that's a different that's a different kettle of fish. So I'll put this up, and you can sort of take what you want from it, I suppose, and use it to inform your arranging. So it's this page here, if you can see it. Yeah. Okay. So these are just things to, like, if you're using different categories, things to avoid. So one is the major 7. So the flat 9 interval will occur between the root and the major 7th. So that we need to do something to avoid that. You use a drop 4 voicing or something similar to get rid of the flat 9 interval or minor second, or you use a different category for the root. Major 7 sharp 11. The 5th of the chord will clash with the sharp 11 because the sharp 11 is, of course, the sharp 4. The minor 9th, either 6 or 9. So minor 6 or minor 9 has the potential to clash with the minor 3rd, which is of the chord, or the 9th. Oh, sorry, the minor 3rd with the 9th. A dominant 7th chord, so a 13th, which is of course the 6th, will clash with the flat 7. So you could go a flat 13 there, and that would avoid it. You'd change the chord function a little bit, but not much. The flat 13 chord would have the same dominant function, but typically you'd be sounding like it's going to a minor chord. Like, for example, if you had a G7 flat 13, be similar to a G7 flat 9, it'd sound like it's going to C minor. It doesn't necessarily have to. You can go to C major. That's a jazz thing as well. In fact, J.S. Bach does that in a lot of his writing too. He sets up for a minor resolution and goes to major and vice versa. So it's done. Just keep in mind that when you use flat 9, flat 13, or an altered dominant chord, it typically wants to go into a minor tonic chord rather than a major tonic chord. Tonic. These could be secondary dominants as well. If you know how secondary dominants work, they basically trick us. They modulate the key to sort of pretend there's a new tonic. It's a bit of a harmonic swifty, if you will. Alright, so we've done the 13th and dominant 7th. We've got dominant 7th sharp 11th, so this comes from the world of Lydian dominant, typically. So the 5th will clash with the sharp 11th. Same problem with the major 7 sharp 11. So Lydian has got that clash between the 5th and the sharp 11. Dominant 7 sharp 9, so this is the Hendrix chord. Foxy Lady, it's the E7 sharp 9. You have the 3rd with the sharp 9 can clash. Then minor 7 flat and fish, or flat and 5th, sorry, it's your half diminished chord. The 5th can clash with the 11th, so I don't think I've ever voiced an 11th on a minor 7 flat and 5th chord. The chord, we don't stay on that chord for very long. It's pretty tense. And then of course the minor 7 flat and 5th, the minor 3rd and the 9th. So that's why we usually go to a flat 9 on those types of chords, and they're leading to the dominant chord anyway. The common use of the flat 9 interval is the dominant 7 flat 9. So we use flat 9 chords, dominant flat 9 chords, to get to another tonic chord, usually a minor tonic chord, but it can be major as well. So that I feel like this section is like, you need to know how to use these categories to be able to arrange in 4-way close, 4-way open, and your drop voicings. So that's why I started with this section. So that's pretty much the end of the video. Thanks for watching. What I might do is, I was originally going to put this all together as one video, but because we're focusing on so many different techniques of jazz arranging, I thought it best to divide it up into sort of 10-minute sections. So the first one, this one is going to be focused around chord tone categories, and so when we arrange this tune, you'll see these techniques come into play. So certainly if you're just starting out jazz arranging, maybe try and look into grade 1, grade 2 and grade 3 music theory. You know, the Dulcie Holland books are pretty good, or you know, the Samantha Coates, the ABRSM books are good too. So just, you know, and then that gives you a good solid basis, so you know where our scales are from, and or how to use our scales, our basic tonic triads, things like that. Your 1-4-5 chord, your 1-4-5 chord and minor key as well, and your different minor scales. So I feel like this is basic knowledge before you start jazz arranging, but certainly use this this chord tone category technique as a good basis, you know, to just start practicing jazz arranging, and particularly if you've got a music notation program, that's also helpful too. You can hear what they sort of sound like. I mean, it's not always accurate, but there you go. But anyway, so we'll get to the tune and putting these techniques in practice, hopefully in the next video. Thanks for watching.